Hello, this is Tony Heller from RealClimateScience.com, setting the record straight about climate. 80 years ago this week, Melbourne, Adelaide, and Canberra all reported their hottest day on record. Adelaide was 117 degrees and Melbourne was 113. People were collapsing and dying in the heat. Bushfires raged all over Australia and people had to abandon their cars and flee to the sea to escape being burned up. During that summer, Tea Tree Well, Australia recorded many days in a row over 130 degrees in the shade. Arctic winter temperatures had warmed up 16 degrees since 1910. Scientists had confirmed the fact that the Arctic regions around Spitsbergen were warming up at a rate of approximately 1 degree every 2 years. Scientists reported that all of the glaciers in eastern Greenland were rapidly melting, and the glaciers of Greenland, like those in Norway, were facing the possibility of a catastrophic collapse. Going back a little bit further to January 1906, South Australia recorded a temperature over 50 degrees Celsius. The next day, referred to as Black Tuesday, January 23, 1906, so named because on that day almost the whole state of Victoria was ablaze. 10 years earlier, in 1896, the New York Times reported that Australia was having the hottest of hot waves on record and reported a temperature of 127 degrees in the shade in Adelaide. And on Black Thursday in 1851, half of Victoria burned, and Melbourne reported temperatures of 117 degrees in the shade at 8 o'clock in the morning. But the New York Times has determined that the fires in Australia this year are due to Australia's climate policy. Never mind that many of the fires this year may have been started by eco-terrorists. There's about 200 people under investigation for arson in Australia right now. A few months ago, the Australian Broadcasting Corporation was supporting groups who were blocking controlled burns from occurring in Australia. These burns were necessary to reduce the fuel load on the ground, which is now contributing to the catastrophic fires. Indigenous populations in the United States and Australia have always used fire to maintain a healthy environment. They understood that a healthy forest needs regular fires. But modern progressives living in their fossil fuel-powered homes don't like fires, and when the fires come, they blame them on climate change. Joe Biden says we're all dead if we don't stop using fossil fuels. Never mind that China's building huge numbers of new coal-fired power plants. Asian countries dominate CO2 emissions in the world, and they are rapidly increasing from those regions. But Western progressives want to cut off the energy supply which keeps our countries going. And the New York Times is of course projecting. What they're proposing is that Australia commit energy suicide, because the tiny population of Australia has no control over global atmospheric carbon dioxide levels. If Australia wants to prevent fires, they should probably prosecute the eco-terrorists who are starting them. Visit Toto on the web at realclimatescience.com. He's been pulling back the curtain on junk science and propaganda for a long time.